Now, Rob, sorry being cagey about the successor, but it sounds like, again, another sort of worst-kept secret. Allister Coetzees sounds like a shoo-in. But yeah, they've got to go through all the processes, recommendations from high-performance committees onto executive councils. We know that big meeting's happening in a few days' time. So Allister Coetzees, speaking of public sentiment, there's a lot of sentiment that he won't necessarily shake things up. You know, he also comes from that sort of conservative mold of coaching. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that is a very valid point. It's something that Springbok fans have got every right to question. And those who watch the Stormers, some people have said it was, you'd rather watch paint dry than a lot of Stormers games during Allister's reign. But, you've got to also look at the bigger picture. The one thing Coetzee did was always make the Stormers a very hard nut to crack. It didn't always mean that they played the flashiest, most brilliant rugby. But he did use sometimes limited personnel to very good effect. I think the Stormers sometimes punched above their weight, considering the number of young players he often had to introduce. He was often
he was very good at bringing the youngsters through, and a great transformation sort of track record.
Yeah, I mean those are qualities that especially in the modern South African landscape are all important. Transformation, obviously a no-brainer, but also young players, because with so many seasoned Springbok players international caliber players shifting overseas because of the lure of foreign currency against the weak rand, it's going to be very important that young players are able to step up quickly, and he's probably better suited than any other existing South African coach to making young players, your sort of 21, 22-year-olds feel sort of confident and empowered quite quickly. So that's one good reason for him being there. And when you mentioned his the sort of slightly negative game plan that he has, let's not forget that I think Saru will insist on a detailed attack template. They will want to know, the bosses will want to be assured that he is going to sort of learn perhaps from certain past mistakes he might have made, and that also his backup personnel will be important, because who knows, if you get a consultant who's got a bit of a Midas touch to help you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to produce some sort of laborious kind of rugby. It just takes one sort of infusion of somebody with some particularly some sort of good backline nous to come in and really shake things up under the guidance of a head coach. So we shouldn't discount the possibility that the Boks do actually stick to a new commitment to trying to play a better brand of ball in hand rugby.
And Rob, in the event that there might be are there any other candidates that are sort of breathing down Allister Coetzees' neck, so to speak?
Yeah, it's quite a fluid climate, really, because you've also got vacancies at certain Super Rugby franchises, for instance, and lots of speculation about who's going to fill the holes there. I mean, John Mitchell, for instance, was spoken about very rousingly after in the wake of the Eddie Jones fiasco, that he was going to step in at the Stormers. Now it seems that's gone very quiet, and that the Stormers are getting a little bit sort of anxious about his past reputation for being a staunch disciplinarian, etc., and that may actually put a spanner in the works there. So some people might be saying, well, will Mitchell be in the mix? What I've been hearing is that I don't think he would be made the Springbok coach. I also don't think that someone like John Plumtree will necessarily be lured back from New Zealand, where he's pretty happy at the moment. The name of Wayne Smith is another one who's been spoken about as a possibility, or at least as possibly being part of a Springbok panel. Who knows, maybe he might come on board as some sort of consultative presence or something along those lines. The name of Johan Ackerman, obviously up there as a Lions, a very successful Lions coach of the last couple of years. Again, I'm hearing that it might be a little bit too early for him. I think people want to see him cut his teeth a little bit more at Super Rugby level, and then maybe he becomes a future candidate. We know that Springbok coaching, the berth can be a precarious one. Who knows, a year or two up the line, it might be up for grabs again. So Ackerman, you can't discount him, but I wouldn't have him in the mix right now. I reckon it's three choices: Allister Coetzees, or Allister Coetzees.